Welcome to How to Talk to Kids About Anything with Dr. Robyn Silverman, a podcast loaded with practical tips, powerful scripts, personal stories, and simple steps to make even the toughest conversations easier. So get ready to get the information you need to make the impact you want from someone you trust, your friend, parenting expert, Dr. Robyn Silverman.
Since we're always talking about helping kids thrive on our podcast, whether we are talking about ADHD or big feelings, friendship, or some other challenge, quick note about a tool I made to create connection and conversation in minutes. They're called Kidversation cards. One meaningful question on the front, a small action on the back. In 3 to 5 minutes, you move from small talk to real talk in the car, at the table, anywhere that you go. Our pre-sale is live with free US shipping, and you'll receive a digital starter kit so you can begin tonight as you wait for that deck to arrive. Grab a deck for you and one for a favorite teacher, coach, or grandparent at kidversationcards.com. ADHD is often talked about in terms of challenges, focus, attention, or impulsivity. But what if we shifted the story? What if we looked at ADHD not as a deficit, but as a different kind of brilliance? As a parent of kids with this different kind of brilliance, I definitely have a personal interest in today's interview. Today, we're exploring how parents and kids can better understand the strengths that come with neurodivergent minds, creativity, energy, spontaneity, heart, and how we can help children with ADHD see themselves not as limited, but as limitless. Penn and Kim Holderness are New York Times best-selling authors, award-winning podcasters, social media creators, and winners of The Amazing Race. I'm sure you'd recognize them. Known for their humor, authenticity, and family-centered content, they've built a global community of over 9 million followers and billions of views. Their newest picture book, All You Can Be with ADHD, those of you who are looking at YouTube right now, I'm holding up this book, beautiful book, gorgeous pictures. Your kids are going to love it. It empowers young readers to see ADHD as an asset, not a deficit, celebrating creativity, resilience, and the endless possibilities that come with thinking differently. Welcome, Penn and Kim Holderness, to How to Talk to Kids About Anything.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for that very generous introduction.
Great use of personal interest too. That's a big part of ADHD. So yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I got to live up to the expectations here because I've got two brilliant minds on with me. Before we jump into all of the great stuff we're going to be going over today, I like to start with a game called High-Low Buffalo, where we give a high that's happening right now, a low that we may be experiencing, and a buffalo, something that people might not know about you. I'll start so that you have a little time to think. A high right now is my book just came out in another language. Here it is. Here's my new book in Hungarian. It's in 14 different languages now. And so this just came to my home the other day, and I was just so excited. Like, look how beautiful this cover is. So I just thought that was really pretty. Yeah. So that's super fun. And it's this one, instead of called How to Talk to Kids About Anything, is called Nothing Taboo. They changed the title. It looks really good, though. Love, love, love. Thank you to our Hungarian partners. A low. Yeah, I messed up. I messed up yesterday. I got really frustrated with my son because he did an assignment and then didn't hand it in. That is something that happens with kids who have executive function issues and ADHD. He is doing so well in school. We're super proud of him. And so when this stuff happens and he forgets to hand it in, it gets me frustrated because I feel like then people don't see what he can offer in the way that I do. And that's what frustrates me. So, of course, I had to apologize this morning because that's what we do. And a buffalo would be that my dad was so brilliant and so modest and he graduated from high school at age 14. And he went to college and graduated at 18 from college and then law school at 21. So he was a genius, but he never bragged about it and was just the most humble person you could ever meet. And what about you?
Wow.
Like Doogie Howser.
I know. I think if that were me, I would make a t-shirt and a billboard.
I know, like, hey.
Opposite of humble.
Yeah.
Hi it might be the same for us both. Our daughter came home on fall break she landed last night. So she's home from college for fall break.
I know that's super exciting for you.
Oh
you
my
talk
gosh.
about that a lot online.
Yeah. So I have to go out into a room this morning and she was still sleeping and I was so excited. So that's definitely the high. The low.
Keep looking at me.
No. The low, I have had, so anxiety is something I deal with and for no reason at all sometimes, or like later I'll be able to look back and be like, oh, of course you were anxious about this. So I've had a few high anxiety days in which I've not showed up as my best self in our marriage, but I'm very self-aware. So I apologize as I'm acting like that. So not that it makes it right. Not that it makes it right.
Oh, I literally said that today. Yes.
I say like you
that it makes it right.
You apologize within hours, which is wonderful.
I apologized yesterday as I was.
That was true. Yeah. Like that.
I'm like, I am doing
yesterday you were acting.
To your credit.
Which is amazing.
Buffalo. I was on a college dance team. Yes. And so I'm taking like this, trying to make midlife a little better. I'm taking dance. I'm back in dance classes as a middle-aged person.
Super cool, Kim.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
not far from where you are.
Not far from where you are.
We will talk more about that. I mean, Buffalo, we're like neighbors and we didn't know it. So
didn't know it.
Super fun.
Yeah.
New friends. New friends. Do you want to add into any of that, Penn?
Well, I won't take any of hers. And it's funny, like I try not to make highs and lows too much about my kid, but I will do like a little of a. Okay, here's my high. The Panthers won last week.
Okay.
And they are this horrible NFL football team that loses all the time. And I have this son who is the only optimist left in the world about this NFL football team, and he sort of like his mood lifts when and it's very rare, and so
very rare. It's like such a lesson in love and disappointment.
So but when he's been smiling all week, and when your kids smile, what's it that we had someone tell us, you're only as happy as your least happy child.
That's so true.
Like a little codependent, but yeah.
So he's been really happy, and we're preparing for that mood to change this weekend. My low. Yeah, so I don't have to get too much into it, but Alzheimer's really sucks. My dad died of dementia 3 years ago. My mom is in the very, very late stages, and Kim and I are going on this kind of journey to figure out how to keep me from having it, but kind of a kick in the old groin. I took a DNA test this year. I'm not surprised, but I have this like double genetic variant that only 1% of the population has, that makes you like 10 times more likely to forget who everybody is when you turn 80. So so that's a low, but it's a low that's gonna, I hope, fuel me to make the most of my life. So yeah.
I think that's terrific. I bet you have a great Buffalo because there's so many interesting things about you.
I feel like I've told people most of the
I know
stuff
that's the problem, right?
You know what? I can bend my thumb like 180 degrees upside down without
delightful. Oh,
so it's
party
disgusting.
trick.
That doesn't hurt at all.
Okay,
Kim, like obviously that's
my man.
Really interesting.
Listen, if there's honestly, if people are having trouble opening a bottle of wine, I do this thing where I put my two hitchhiker's fingers together with the corkscrew, and I can pull it out like that. And that really grosses people out.
But useful. So, all right.
Really good at parties.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. No, I love that. I was just kidding. No, I think that's great. Okay, we're going to get a baseline so that we can all get like the lay of the land here. So as a parent of kids with ADHD, I come with bells on for this interview. Let our amazing listeners in on what your personal tie is to ADHD and why you felt it so important to put a new lens on how we talk about ADHD with kids.
Thank you. My story begins as a child, as our children in the 1980s with no idea that ADHD exists. Just the behavior was consistent with everything that I'm seeing in children now. Uh, Extreme highs and lows. Now that we're done talking about highs and lows, really difficulty focusing on anything that is not of personal interest to me. Feeling pretty alone in the way that I communicated and carried friendships because it was hard. Like even when you're a 6-year-old in the playground, people who were talking to you would like it if you could finish the rest of their sentence. And I just and this trouble followed me all the way into adulthood. I just couldn't. My brain would not allow me to hold in what was on my mind. It just came out. And parents, kids, they probably didn't see it as a sign of disrespect, but they probably saw it as a sign of like, let me keep moving to somebody else to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I was a huge victim of emotional flooding. I was like what Dr. Becky Hammond would call a deeply feeling kid.
Yeah.
I cried really easily. I got really upset really easily if something didn't go wrong, and the rest of the world just sort of turned that same color of gray as that moment that was happening to me. And so, I found, I'm sorry, this may be too long of a story, but
no, it's okay.
I kind of found my people in middle school when I got into musical theater. And it's so funny how many other people had a similar experience with ADHD, where it's like a safe place to be spontaneous and deeply feeling. And a lot of other ones almost felt the same way. And I'd like to say that sort of got me through puberty and through some of like my hormonal developments. And then when I got to college and my Ritalin, I call my mom my Ritalin. So my executive functioner, which was literally my mom, she did what she could, obviously, wasn't with me. And I got into some serious academic trouble. I went on academic probation twice. Finally realized that I'd heard of ADHD, that I needed to get tested. Was very well received by a very nice doctor, but treated it like a medical model, which is understandable. Like, there's something wrong with you. Here's some pills. Good luck. Nothing else. Just here's the pills. Good luck. That got me through college. I found a job in television where I could actually thrive in a situation like this without too many of the weaknesses sticking out, because in television, it's your job to keep people interested for what? Like, they used to say 8 seconds. Now it's 3 seconds. Met a wife who was understanding of me. And I think I told her pretty early on that I had ADHD, and it didn't scare her away. Started a new business with her that you need to keep people interested for even a shorter amount of time. So that felt like a good little thing. And then we had kids, and my executive functioning started to break down again. There was too much going on.
Stress.
And my wife understandably thought that I didn't care, wasn't respecting her, wasn't paying attention to like all the things that we needed as a family. And that's when sort of a deep dive happened for me and my ADHD. And together, she was very helpful. Started talking to people about it. And that's what our first book came from, which is ADHD is Awesome, because once I had a realization of all of the things that were happening inside my brain physically, it helped me understand and want to do more work on it. And also the end result was a lot of other great things that I am because of my ADHD. And it's a lot easier to see that stuff once you understand it. I am so sorry. I'll stop talking for the rest.
No, hey, this is interesting. This is interesting.
But yeah, you asked about my journey, and that was it. And then the final stage of the journey was we put this book out called ADHD is Awesome. It was very well received. And really the only thing anybody said negatively about it, for the most part to our faces, was, I really wish there was a children's version of this.
There you go. That's just your next step there. Yeah. So
I'm done.
No.
You guys,
that
that
was
was sorry.
great.
That was so long.
Yeah.
So here is the book again, everybody. All You Can Be with ADHD. And again, just really beautifully done and chaotic in the best way. I thought it was just a very good illustration of what exactly is going on there. So in your book, and in my book too, we talk about some of the people who have ADHD that people might not know about. So I talk about neurodiversity and how to talk to kids about neurodiversity in my book. And so a script that I might tell people to be using, which goes with your book, is did you know that Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles has ADHD? She even says not to think of ADHD as a downfall or a problem in an interview with Understood. Think of it as a superpower. I wanted to ask you, we know now that Simone Biles, like Michael Phelps, Anthony Hopkins, Jim Carrey, Lisa Ling, many more people have been diagnosed with ADHD. And there's even people from the past that we assume had ADHD, even if they were not diagnosed as such. And you put these people like actually right there in the book, which is super fun. So tell us how you feel this can help the kids who are reading this book or reading with their parents, and what you hope happens when kids hear that famous people have or had ADHD.
Well, interesting. And I want to back up real quick. And I know Simone Biles feels like it is a superpower. First of all, she is superpowered.
I mean, she
needs to be studied. She's an actual superhero. She flies higher than Superman. Absolutely. Whatever it is that's happening in her brain she is superpowered. We hesitate from using superpower in our language. I think at one point we did, and then we backed up and we're like,
Yeah. I don't question people who say it.
And that authentically feel that.
Yeah.
Right.
We want our son to know, and we want kids reading this book to know is, there are some things that are really hard for the ADHD brain. They're really like undeniably hard, but there's going to be things in your brain that are going to be so easy for you that the rest of us find so hard.
Yes.
Like that hyper focus, like my husband, my son, if it's a personal interest or if there's a deadline, if there's a challenge, both of them can be heads down working on something and forget to eat, forget to go to the bathroom. And that is a pretty cool, that could be pretty cool. There is science, and there have been studies that show that the ADHD brain, it comes up with like these really cool, different solutions to problems. I mean, there are all these studies about how wildly creative this ADHD brain is. So we want to acknowledge the ADHD brain. It's not a deficit, it's a difference. There are some really, really cool brains or things that your brain is going to be able to do that you're going to, like my son, he's like, well, everybody can do that. Everybody can just look at something and memorize and stand up and perform it. I'm like, absolutely not. Like that is a gift of your brain. But we also want to acknowledge that there are some drawbacks. And so we do that in the book. We do that in a larger book. Absolutely, Simone Biles is superpowered, and we'll never argue with that. But I just want to be really clear that, like, as a superpower, as a language, like we kind of tiptoe around that.
And like we've talked to a ton of people about it. We changed the word in the book. I think it's interesting. I think our publisher was like, superpower, good here, and we said, how about secret powers? Like that makes a little bit more sense.
Yes,
you understand both sides. To answer your question about why it's important for kids to know this, hope is a really nice weapon against shame. Shame and loneliness are very real in children who don't understand their ADHD. And sometimes people who even do understand, but it certainly gets better once you understand what's going on, right? And so hearing about people who have been successful with this type of brain gives them hope. ADHDers, including myself, develop slower. So their biggest comparison are their peers. They might be emotionally slower, sometimes even physically slower to develop, sometimes intellectually, certainly executive function wise, and socially, we're slower to develop. So the only frame of reference that these kids have are in classroom with other neurotypical kids.
So offering them
we're telling them to play the long game and see what can happen once those things catch up.
I really appreciate that long game. I mean, I know you're talking to the kids right now in that statement, but also the parents need hope as well.
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent of kids with ADHD, you know, your heart sinks a little bit sometimes with the issues that they may have with, especially social. You're here on the one side from the scientists that you need to have at least one friend, really good friend in order to, be successful and to feel happy and fulfilled. And you're like, does my kid have this? You start to question, what can I do? I talk about diversifying your friendship circles and getting them out there to, a whole lot of different people. But it is a slower thing to develop. And the executive functioning skills are slower thing to develop. So here I am saying to my kid, why are you not getting this homework in? But we have to understand that the executive function isn't developed yet and that we need to give it time. So I really appreciate the long game idea here. We also know that when kids and young people hear about superheroes in their lives, a Simone Biles or whoever they may look up to in like the acting field, in the athletic field, that if they have ADHD or whatever issue that they may have, and they have failed, they've made mistakes, and we hear about them, that those people feel that they are able to fail and they're able to lift themselves up and try again. They've actually done research on it at Columbia University, where the kids hear about people who have struggled in math, Madame Curie, or science, and Einstein, and they think, oh, they failed, they didn't do well. That means that I can try harder. And they found that they do try harder. Super
Einstein was
interesting.
dyslexic. Like that's
Right.
right. Yeah.
Super interesting. So I'm wondering that those kids who feel like they are not a leader in life, that they are feeling behind, that they are not feeling included, how can hearing about these people and their failures and then their ultimate success help them to know that they can step into the shoes of being a leader and that they had that all along?
I think all of us. I mean, we went to a conference this weekend and they had a whole talk on failure. And there are some incredibly successful people in that room raising their hands, talking about their failure. And I mean, there was a woman who works in finance, and in college she failed calculus, you know?
Yeah.
So and for I don't know what it says about me that I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like that made me identify more. But I think especially for our neurodivergent children, we are seeing in a typical school system, and listen, schools are doing the best they can, teachers are doing the best they can. What is rewarded are the things that the neurotypical kids are really good at. They're really
That's right.
good at turning things in on time. They're really good at following directions. They're really good at sitting still. The neurodivergent kid is getting disciplined or corrected
10,000 times.
and that is really hard. Even, and I catch myself with my son. I'm like, okay, can you
Me too.
and it's just it's so hard. So I believe, like, my theory is, as humans we all sort of need an example to shoot for, but then also for the neurodivergent to see somebody who has suffered a setback and yet so I think again, back to the long game thing, I think it's so helpful to know that there is a world where they will be rewarded,
Yes, and in time they'll feel
and in time, and which
successful,
is so
right?
when you're a kid,
Oh,
just to say, and I
yeah.
remember my mom saying, like, it's gonna be fine, you're gonna find your people and call, like, all this stuff, but like, I want my people right now,
And
like,
those other people have their people.
and there are other people have their people,
But it turns
Oh,
out they didn't, right? But yes.
I'll go back to the brain. People with ADHD have a tougher time with failure. It is in your emotional DNA. So it's called flooding, right? Something goes wrong and the entire world seems like it's going wrong. More extreme versions, quite a few people with ADHD experience physical pain through failure. They have rejection sensitive dysphoria. And it's so interesting. Like, that's not something I learned about until later on in my research for the book. And it is like, it's a topic that's become more prevalent in the last 5 or 6 years. And so it's so hard for us that hearing about it from other people helps lessen that just a little bit. I can speak from experience and tell you that me hearing that other people are human and make mistakes, it makes me feel better about my mistakes.
Thank you for saying that. And it just goes to show how much we need to talk to our kids about this topic. Share your failures, share the failures, borrow these from, from the book, from my book, from your book, the examples of people who have failed and are now doing really well. And that doesn't mean that they're always doing well. We, experience one of the things that I talk about in my book is that Simone Biles did have that breakdown and she did let us know
Yep.
she was overwhelmed,
Beautifully.
the emotional flooding, and how graceful she was to share that with the world and to say, here's what's happening in my brain right now. I need to take a step back. And then when she re-engaged, she was so much better for it again. So we do need to share these stories.
I think I would be so starstruck if I met her. That was such a talking point in our house because if Simone Biles can step back and prioritize her mental health on that stage, I, as a middle-aged woman who does not have the country's, eyes on me, can also do that. Anyway, I know that's not what that podcast is about, but I will forever be grateful for her because she was the subject, an example of so many conversations in our house about exactly that.
Love it.
Take a pause. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I think that's super important. And I love that. And I'm so glad to hear that you were talking about it too. The more we share these stories, the more normalized they become. Yeah. And our kids can then come out and say, I remember when you told me about Simone Biles, I'm kind of feeling like that too, or in whatever way that they want. One of the things that I love here in your book, right on the front cover, you have this clubhouse. And it's the ADHD clubhouse. It's no secret that many kids with ADHD are not included in the clubhouse at school, in the neighborhood, in life. So you said you're in your own experience that you felt like you weren't included, and that this was very hard for you, this social aspect. So why did you make it so central, so important to you to ensure that this book said, hey, you're welcome here, come on in?
Oh, what a wonderful softball toss question. If I screw this one up, then you need to kick me off of all podcasts. That's it. No,
I try to make things, it's very easy for my guests.
Thank you. It was very intentional. Acceptance is a huge theme in childhood psychology, even before you get into neurodiversity, right? I'm going to go a little step further. If you also notice on the cover of the book, it's not just a bunch of guys. ADHD is diagnosed 3 times more by it to be in boys than it is in girls, while genetically studies show we're about 50-50. Girls just do a better job masking it. They're tough. Right. Let's be honest, they're tougher than us. They handle stuff better than us.
We do.
Same ratio for black or brown children. It's about 3x more white versus black or brown. So we wanted the inclusion also to say, look, everyone has this type of brain. So that was a big part of it. Also, there's something about a clubhouse that also it's your little club, it's your little secret. The neurotypical people, we love you guys, but this is for us.
They've been included in everything. So
I know they get everything.
Yes. I just think that there's a sense of belonging that I missed as a kid, right? That's why this book was essentially, I was going back in time and writing this for myself. And a wild and crazy thing has happened with me. I've gone back and come to grips with some of the things in my childhood just by writing and looking at this book and by seeing it come to life about, those things did happen. I don't know if I acknowledge some of them as well as I did. And I guess that's what therapy is. I probably need to go to it, but this has been sort of my own version of therapy, going back and looking at myself as a child and seeing where I am now and making a connection that's not necessarily a bad one, because the type of person that I was as a child, while deeply feeling and heavily emotional, also I was a loyal friend. I was creative. That's how I succeeded in life, was being creative. I laughed at everyone. So I was
with them, not at them.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
I stood up, even though it was terrifying, I felt this sense of justice that when people were being.
Oh, yes. That's my son to a T.
Yeah.
Strong sense of justice.
Yeah. And that's what an amazing, life skill and character. Yeah. And I will also say, I like dream would come true if a teacher is reading this in a classroom. And so maybe let's say there's 25 kids there and two or three of them identify as ADHD. Wouldn't it be cool for the neurotypical kids so they'll learn more about their friends' brains?
Yes.
Like, I think that as much as we can include those neurotypical kiddos, like it to understand that, like, okay, yes, baby Penn, maybe he has trouble sitting still, but it's his brain, and this is what it is, and we love him because he's going to stick up for you. I just think that would be the coolest.
I mean, if we can help point out these strengths, it will do good for everyone.
Right.
When I was speaking at a school, I have the kids turn to each other and say, one thing that they really find strong about the other person.
Oh, I love that.
And which, I mean, it would have ended there, but a parent got in touch with me, and came that night because I did one for the kids and one for the adults, as I often do. And the parent came to me and said, "Oh my gosh, like this one exercise really did something so important for my kid. They've never heard that this was one of their strengths." The other girl said, "You have been such a good friend, and here's how you do it." And she's like, she came home bursting that this person said this about her. So yes, Kim, I feel like what you're saying is a dream, but it also should be a reality because a lot of these kids don't hear about their strengths. They
Right.
hear about what's going wrong, what they did wrong, how they failed, what they should feel shameful about. So amen
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
As we're getting into some of the struggles that you talk about in this book and that we've alluded to, you say in the book it can be lonely. I've said to myself, why can't I be normal like everyone else? Sometimes we're squirmy, sometimes we're forgetful, we interrupt friends, and that makes us regretful, and so on. You tell us that sometimes it's lonely and not everybody gets us. So if you could use those secret powers to talk to that lonely kid, you,
Mm-hmm.
when you were younger, what would you want to tell them?
Like me from the future coming back, or
Yes.
is
Yes,
yeah.
let's do the Adam
Like
Project.
check out my hot wife.
I
Would be
mean, you
the first
probably
thing I
should
would
say
say.
that. Things are not so
Check out
shabby
my
for
smoking
Penn.
hot wife. Here's a picture. Unless she's allowed to come back with me.
I mean, you can make the rules here. It's fine.
Okay.
She's welcome to come too.
No, I think the one thing I want to make sure everybody knows is like this isn't like my story isn't a success story of what I was able to be in spite of my ADHD. It's what I was able to be because of my ADHD.
Mhm.
There you go.
So all of those things that you just listed are true. And they are the things that are hard for me that are easy for other people. But I'm just here to tell you that there are things that are going to be easy for people with ADHD that are harder for other people. And they're harder to see when you have it described as a medical condition, and when you live in a world that was not created for you. Right?
Yeah.
So I think what I would say to that kid is, and we try to do this with our kid, like I know you didn't turn in your homework. I did, by the way, same. I know you cried for a long time and everyone laughed at you because you cried. Whatever the feelings are that you're having right there are super valid. Don't let anybody laugh at you. Those feelings are what are going to make you an empathetic, wonderful person when you get older.
Mhm.
Sorry, I just called myself a wonderful person. That's probably
I mean,
I'm
look,
just trying, yeah, because
I like it.
I've never talked to myself before in the past.
But don't we need to parent our own selves? I think
Yeah.
that's a beautiful way of doing
yeah.
This
that.
feels like therapy. I'm gonna start crying here soon. 'Cause I'm like, my
Let's
childhood
let it
self.
out. Let it out.
I think the one thing that I would say is to like trust when something feels right to you, really trust in it, even if the world doesn't have a place for it right now. You're gonna find it. Like the things that you love, don't stop loving them because they're not what other people love or what other people are telling you to love, because that's the path to success for your type of brain.
And I just want to underscore what you're saying here, that as a parent, that we do have some power to help out even when they're not with us, because you're providing the script in their brain for things that they can say to themselves when they're going through some rough times at school. And we know that they are. In that day-to-day slog as a parent, having kids with ADHD can be frustrating. Okay, like we're not always going to be perfect. And I even admitted at the top of the show, not perfect by far ever. The missing homework and the forgetting, to hand in homework that's done. That can be just frustrating. You see your kid's potential, yet you're feeling like that executive function piece can sabotage progress. And yet, you have this friendship piece and this loneliness piece that rips your heart out. You can find yourself having a lot of big feelings about ADHD. Okay. It's not always a smile and a laugh. Please speak to the parents who are listening in right now who might feel like they're at the end of their rope on some days and feeling like a lack of hope that you mentioned before, perhaps wondering when or if their child is going to be able to successfully launch because they forget their lunch and their homework and their appointment, or to say the right thing with friends. What do you want them to know?
That is such a great question, because if you have an ADHD or a neurodivergent kid, I think the one thing parents can kind of unify on is like, oh my gosh, aren't we so, I want to make sure that the world like accepts my special brilliant kid. And the world is not made for my special brilliant kid. And I don't want him, this is going to be a long answer. I don't want him to conform to what is celebrated in the modern school, but the modern school, like he sort of needs to ace the modern school to be able to get to the point.
Yes.
So all I could say is, I hear you, I see you, we're in this together. If more people did the work of trying to figure this out, I think that we could create a world that celebrated these beautiful brains. And I do, because I have the gift of living with this guy, I do see that the long game works out. And so it is so hard, because man, we have been in those moments where I'm like, so you're telling me you did the honors math homework. You did it. You did it on the first day.
It's in the folder.
It's in the folder, but you did not turn it in when literally everybody else in the class turned in. Like, we've had those moments.
Yes.
And we don't, they don't get a free pass. He doesn't get a free pass because he has ADHD, but just, I think what we've done a better job on recently, even just in the last couple of years, is like finding out when he's nailing it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Let's focus on that.
Focus. Like, so of course we're like, okay, dude, you still have to like, even the teacher's not accepting it for credit, but I need you to walk in and take it in.
Yeah, I show you and
throw it away,
yes.
but you have to go through the motions of turning it in. Okay, what we've discovered, our son, I mean, similar to Penn's musical therapy, he loves improv comedy.
So good.
And so he has found
he's found his tribe.
He's found his and they are just the funniest, weirdest kids. And I'm like, oh my God, I see him on stage with these kids. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're all weird like him. I love it. And so he has started he loves sports and the analytics of sports. He started a Substack blog. Like, these very, very non-traditional things. So I would just say, as a parent, find it when your kids are nailing it and just like follow them. Yeah.
And if I can just add something, this is for parents and earmuffs for kids. So like, you don't want to hear this. So parents, you're kind of in ours, we're guilty of this. Like, you're trying to get you want your kid to be successful. Right. It is so heavily tied now to SAT scores, GPAs. What college are you going to get into? How's that going to help your self-esteem? How's that going to set you up for success? I just want to let everybody know that I consider myself successful. If I'm on the podcast with Dr. Robyn Silverman, I feel like I'm successful. I tanked so badly in college that everyone I knew had a job except for me. I went home and I waited tables at the Macaroni Grill.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Yeah. I don't even know if they have those anymore.
They do.
And I took an internship at a local TV station to learn how to be a sportscaster. My first job was for $13,000 a year, and I worked about 80 hours a week. So it's a long game.
There's a lot of different paths.
Yeah, there's a lot of different paths. And I'm sure my parents probably looked at me at that point and were like, well, let's see how our other son's doing. Maybe he'll amount to something.
Hey, we need to work at the restaurants too.
And I think that just like judging, like doing a better job of like, what does success look like?
Yeah.
And it is not a perfect SAT score.
Incidentally, I was very happy with my $13,000 a year job.
No,
Of
thrilled.
course.
I
Loved it.
I
Hey.
loved it. Yeah.
Love. Yeah,
Yeah.
great people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to redefine what success is for each individual person. If we make a blanket statement of what success means, then we lose out on the amazing gifts that each child provides, especially these neurodiverse kids who can provide the creativity or the innovation. We block them, we give them limits, and we don't let their real brain shine.
And I think I mean, this is a deeper conversation,
We may
but
have to come back
we
on.
will come back. So we have our daughter's a freshman in college. It's very exciting. And she like it kicked butt, worked so hard. And she experienced that sort of like college application success. Love it, love it, love it. But to like, I know now what it takes to get there. And then but I also see, I have the wisdom of having, like, everybody kind of gets in somewhere. And we don't, as parents, need to say, like, this is the only way you're going to be happy. There's like a lot of different ways to be happy. I have family members who never went to college who are very, very happy and successful. Like, there's a lot of different paths to it. I just think as parents, we need to like watch our language from the very beginning that this is the only path to success. Like that, like
Thank you.
going to a top 10 school. What does that even mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
I know.
I wouldn't have been able to get into the college I went to at this point.
Oh,
So,
I said the same thing. Yes. Right.
so I never
Good
would have
point.
been accepted. So we all just need to chill out a little bit as
Yeah.
parents. And if we could all do that collectively,
That would be great if we all
would
get
lower-
together and
like just lower the temperature, not lower expectations, but like let's just lower the temperature and like know that everybody finds their way. It just takes some people, like we go on like a little U-turn and we just like take a different path.
and they bloom where they're planted. You know, it's not like you're sitting there at the school you got into thinking, oh, I could be at this other school. You live in that school. You learn and you progress, and it becomes exactly the school that you want. And if it doesn't, you transfer and you move on.
Or like find like my nephew right now is in like EMS school to be like EMS firefighter, and he's like, I have found my thing. Like,
and so needed. Thank you very much.
And he's like, he was on the scene of like a car accident the other day, and these injured people, and he was able to help. Like, he was like literally saving people's lives.
Thank you.
And like, thank you. This is, and he was like pumped and jazzed, and like, thank you. Like, he found it. Yeah.
That's so important. I appreciate that so much. So now we're getting to the point where we have like the like very quick answer part. And one of the things I wanted to know from you, Penn, is give me one or two tricks that have gotten you through some of your challenges. Like, give us like that inside scoop, like one or two tricks that you're like, this is the best. This is what has helped.
We're talking hacks, right? I love a good ADHD hack.
Tricks, tips.
So I've got some fun ones. But first of all, everyday life, it's micro deadlines. So instead, like if I have because ADHDers sometimes have trouble with long-term projects and turning stuff in.
Yes.
So rather than, for example, for a book, if you're writing a book and it needs to be 300 pages, don't give yourself okay, I need a chapter by the end of the week. That doesn't work for my brain. I don't see that far ahead. I see right in front of me when it comes to tasks. I have to do a page in 20 minutes, and then we move on to the next one. I think books is one example. I think for kids, if you can, in school, if you can parse your projects into smaller bits and give yourself very actionable micro deadlines for each of them, it makes a big difference. Other fun ones, I lost 3 wedding rings, so I just tattooed my wife's name on my finger.
Oh my gosh.
And that's kind of awesome too, because I can't ever take that off, right? Not that I ever would.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Because I lost it 3 times. And then I when I can, I pee sitting down. And that is so that if I don't forget to leave the toilet seat down. It's just always down.
So maybe some actual ones for our parents listening.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just telling you something.
I love it. Thank you very much for that.
But after dinner, let's say, and we have like, kitchen's a mess, whatever. Like, let's see what we can get done in 2 songs, and like crank, because our son loves music.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
kind of a micro deadline.
Like, and it's a micro deadline, but it's a way to measure it. Or you gamify it, and you're like, I'm gonna set the timer for 10 minutes, and let's like see how, like, let's race to see how much we can get this done. Um, I think that our son would make so many lists that he would lose his lists and that would become overwhelming.
Yeah.
So he has like he's old enough and he has a Google Calendar on his, but there are still some like, we have just, he has a tooth, obviously he wakes up, brushes his teeth, but then he also wants to brush his teeth after. So we have like a toothbrush and toothpaste downstairs. So he's not having to like go all the way back upstairs. So there's like little ways we've just like kind of figured out to manage
Yeah,
it.
in our book, we call those upstream solutions. Like they're basically like on the way to wherever you are, like try to find places for things to exist if you need to do them, because once they're out of your sight, they're effectively out of your working memory.
So these are really great hacks. We also now use alarm systems.
Oh yeah.
So, the alarm has to go off because you're right. It out of sight, out of mind. He
Right.
has got his tutor at 4:30 on Wednesdays. So 4:25 on Wednesdays, there's an
Yeah.
alarm because
Right.
otherwise it's 4:35 and he's not on, and he wants to be independent. He doesn't want to be micromanaged by me. You got to get on, you got to go. Da, da. Oh, is it time? Nobody wants to feel like that.
Mhm.
So the more that we can give them some of those little hacks, the better off it is for them too. Give us your top tip. What do you hope people come away with after reading your children's book or the book you wrote before, or after listening to this podcast about ADHD and how to talk to kids about it?
You're not alone. You're not broken. Your brain's pretty cool. There's millions of people like you. This world is not necessarily created for you, but you are cool enough that eventually you can help create a world that's made for people like you. That's the possibilities, and they are endless.
And now you are another one of the examples of people who've gotten out there and been successful, and continue to be successful. And you're not just doing the fun stuff, you're doing the important stuff. We really appreciate you coming on the show and talking about this. Give us the resource of the week. Where can we go to get more information about you, your book, get your book, and of course, the great work you're doing?
Well, all you can be with ADHD.com is where you can figure out how, to get the book.
Also, holdernessfamily.com if you forget
Yeah,
that.
and we are very boring. We're like at the Holderness family on every social media platform because we named the channels before we figured out that like how to do social media. So that's just where we are.
It's very memorable, and it kind of is what you do.
Yeah.
And not to mention, we will have all of your links on our show notes.
Thank you.
So if you are running, if you're in your car, if you're having a frustrating moment, no worries. We got you. We're going to give you all the information. And I want to thank you for being on the show today and for sharing your heart, for sharing your tips, for really getting in there. And we're not skirting anything. We've learned about peeing. We've learned about, all the different hacks and also the background story that made this book possible. All You Can Be with ADHD is the children's book. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh my gosh, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I've got my takeaways, and sweet friends, I know you have yours. So let's discuss them. You can go up to Facebook, we can go to the Dr. Robyn Silverman page, or we can chat about it on all of the social media platforms with the Holderness family. We can talk about it with them and go back and forth. I'm going to be creating memes of all the great things that they said today. I'm also going to be creating little clips that you can share with friends because sometimes you might be saying it over and over again to your mother-in-law or to your friends and they don't get it. But if somebody else says it, maybe they will. So keep showing those things. And you can buy this book anywhere and actually get it for your school. You can get it for teachers. You can get it for coaches so that this book is read. And if you love this podcast like I did, I'll hope you go to iTunes and rate and review it so other people can learn about this book, about the Holderness family, and all of the strategies and cool hacks that we learned today and use them in their own homes. I truly appreciate it. That's all the time we have for today, my fellow parents, leaders, and educators. Thank you so much for tuning in to How to Talk to Kids About Anything. For more information on books, articles, speaking engagements, or curriculum, you can go to drrobynsilverman.com. There's also my book, How to Talk to Kids About Anything, and the Kidversation cards to get you talking and connecting through conversation. I look forward to weathering the storms and enjoying the sunny side of life together. And please remember, even on the days when you fall short, you've got this. You're here and you're getting the information you need. I know it's not easy, but never forget there's typically a tomorrow. And you may have heard something today and you thought, yeah, I wasn't that patient. Nope, I did not have that conversation with my kid. Oh, no, I've been as frustrated as possible and I haven't repaired anything. I've just been pissed off. And you learned something today and you realized, oh, okay, now I have this nugget of information. Now I can be different when this situation arises. And that's really cool. You can go back if you yelled at your child last week, or you got really frustrated and you were like, oh, whoops, I totally messed up, or you didn't have these hacks. And you can say, hey, last week we had this conversation, I kind of messed up. Let's talk about it again. Let's have a redo, because parenting typically provides the ultimate do-over. So I see you. And I'm right there with you. And as there are moments when we doubt our know-how, our choices, and our sweet, sweet sanity, please know you are 10 times the parent you think you are. Until next time, this is Dr. Robyn Silverman with How to Talk to Kids About Anything. Please tune in again and keep connecting through conversation. See you next week.
You've been listening to How to Talk to Kids About Anything with Dr. Robyn Silverman. For more information on books, articles, speaking engagements, or curriculum, please visit drrobynsilverman.com.